From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, March the 16th, 2017. A rocket was fired into Israel last night from the Gaza Strip. The projectile landed in an open area of the Sdot Negev Regional Council near the border with Gaza in southern Israel. No damage or injury was caused. The IDF said it holds Hamas responsible for any strikes emanating from Gaza, and Israeli jets struck 2 Hamas terror targets in the northern Gaza Strip in response overnight last night. Israel, the United States, and Jewish organizations are expressing their outrage over a report released yesterday by a United Nations commission. The UN Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia is based in Beirut, Lebanon, and encompasses 18 Arab countries. The report it released was co-authored by Richard Falk, who is a former UN Special Rapporteur on Palestinian human rights, who is known for his anti-Israel statements. The report yesterday accuses Israel of establishing a, quote, apartheid regime that oppresses and dominates the Palestinian people as a whole. It states that available evidence establishes beyond a reasonable doubt that Israel is guilty of policies and practices that constitute the crime of apartheid, as legally defined in instruments of international law. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, slammed the report. He said the attempt to smear and falsely label the only true democracy in the Middle East by creating a false analogy is despicable and constitutes a blatant lie. And the U.S. ambassador to the UN is asking that the report be withdrawn. Nikki Haley released a statement saying that the United States is outraged by the report, adding that such anti-Israel propaganda would come from a body whose membership nearly universally does not recognize Israel is unsurprising. B'nai B'rith International said the apartheid charge is a ludicrous canard. These relentless anti-Semitic and anti-Israel accusations from the United Nations must end. And leaders of the Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations called on the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, to publicly reject the report. Chairman and Executive Vice Chairman Stephen Greenberg and Malcolm Hoenlein respectively said this latest outrage perpetrated against Israel by a UN body must not be allowed to stand, calling Falk and the UN Commission's Executive Secretary Rima Khalaf serial purveyors of anti-Israel calumnies who abuse their official UN positions to launch unjustified and outrageous attacks on Israel. A UN spokesman, meanwhile, said the report was published without consulting the UN Secretary General and does not reflect his views. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met again today with U.S. Special Representative for International Negotiations Jason Greenblatt in Jerusalem. Ahead of the meeting, Netanyahu said he would try to reach an agreed-upon policy regarding the settlements with the U.S. envoy. Meanwhile, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas discussed his meeting with Greenblatt. According to an interview released yesterday with the Qatari news site Al Watan, Abbas said Greenblatt did not propose any ideas or carry any offers. Rather, he came just to listen to what's on our minds in order to later inform President Trump. And Abbas met today with the visiting president of Bosnia. He told the press before the sit-down with Mladen Ivanik in Ramallah that violence and terror worldwide all stem from the fact that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict hasn't been solved. Ivanik met yesterday, as we reported to you, with Prime Minister Netanyahu in Jerusalem. The Associated Press reports that an official arrest warrant has now been issued to a former Nazi war criminal living in the U.S. As we reported to you earlier this week, 98-year-old Minnesota resident Michael Karkuk was confirmed to have been a commander in the SS Galicia Division, or the Ukrainian Self-Defense Legion, during the Holocaust. Yesterday, a Polish court in Lublin issued the warrant for Karkuk, which is the first step in his extradition. Karkuk is accused of playing a role in the murders of civilians in a number of Polish villages in July of 1944. His family claims he is innocent. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, March the 16th. At 7 o'clock, it's Talmud Study with Rabbi Mordechai Becker. At 7:30 and 8 o'clock, more highlights of the Jewish Feminist Orthodox Alliance Conference. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Yitz Greenberg on L'chaim. And at 10, a look at Jewish responsibility from the recent Limud Conference. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's In the News with Mark Golub. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, March the 16th, 2017. I'm Teisha Bader.